Greetings from Snake Mountain Boatworks on Thursday, November 4, 2021. Rick and I are baffled because we agreed, if you remember from the last video, that he would come in this morning and sand off the rest of the Bondo. Well, he started sanding, and you see what he has discovered. Right here, it's almost an inch thick. It's just baffling as to why somebody went to all the trouble to fill this whole area. Remember yesterday, we're going like this. If you look at the thumbnail photograph at the beginning of the video, there's one little spot here, but I think we can do a little Dutchman patch right there. But we still have to get the rest of this Bondo off. There's still some Bondo on down here. God only knows how thick it is. But in fact, if Rick or I or Joe were looking at this boat, trying to diagnose what we needed to do, I don't think putting an inch-thick layer of Bondo over perfectly good wood would be very high on our list. And yes, there is a little opening here, but also remember that is behind the cutwater that runs right down here. So we can fill that with Thixo. It'll be watertight and safe once we get there. It's interesting, when they put the Bondo on, they didn't even bother to take the old finish off beforehand, which is why, of course, it's all on the floor in big chunks. Rick started sanding and realized it wasn't adhering, so carefully using a chisel to start chipping it off, and now he can keep going. We will pause this update right here and come back to you in a while to show you the final result. Well, it's a couple hours and a lot of Bondo later, but Rick kept at it. So we're hoping, while we keep stripping hideous stain varnish off the top sides, that somebody out there in the community can explain to us why there's a gouge right here that happened at some point. It's about a strong inch wide and tall vertically up the top sides, and about, 2.5, 3 inches the other way. But I think we could have repaired that with a Dutchman without putting 10 pounds of Bondo on it, because as you can see, there's nothing wrong with the wood anywhere. So Rick and I were tossing around, why would you do this? And I said, maybe it was a wrong cutwater that somebody bought from somewhere, maybe the same genius, and thought that in order to make it fit, we had to puff it out with Bondo. So we went and got the cutwater. Guess what? Fits perfectly. Now, remember, on the Seamaids, the cutwater comes up to about here from the water line. And then there's another breastplate above it. But it is a Century Seamaid breastplate. It's exactly correct. Fits perfectly. In fact, it's going to have to be reformed just a little bit with our fasteners, because if you add an inch of Bondo to it, the profile is at a different angle. So this is really good news. We still have to start somewhere in here with a long scarf and fabricate a new gripe. So we'll fabricate, remember, starting from here. This is the keel, so we have this radius to replicate and then join in this area. This Bondo as well it's just a skim coat. So we don't have a great deal to worry about. I'm almost thinking if I look right here, this may be our joint that we will use to anchor the new gripe. But you tell me. Here we were worried that we were going to have to release all of these to replace a rotted stem that was hiding behind a bunch of Bondo. And that really would have required that we release this frame, this frame, this frame, right to about here. So you take a look at how far we are aft of the stem to be able to get these planks to spring out far enough so that we could work in there. Well, we don't have to do that. These planks aren't moving anywhere. We still have the issue here and elsewhere that hear the hollow sound? Hear the difference in the sound? Yeah, this plank is floating right here because the fasteners have all failed. But if you go along and pound, yeah, I know. I'm supposed to be using a plastic handled screwdriver or a plastic hammer, as somebody pointed out. The problem with a plastic hammer is you can get an awful lot of force concentrated in a pretty small area. And the last thing you want to do if you're looking at somebody's baby that you're considering buying is put dents in it. So that's why I use the screwdriver. I can't hit the hull, can't hit the wood with the same amount of force. So let's mark this up as good news. What we have in the bow of Songbird is a very traditional preservation challenge, not a structural rebuild challenge. So that's our good news update on the 1948 18-foot Century Seabird. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now from Snake Mountain Boatworks.